green-eyed monsters in the woods, headless horsemen, and pale ladies in white dresses roaming the fields at night. All this can be found and experienced at Chickamauga Battlefield in North Georgia, supposedly the most haunted Civil War battlefield in Appalachia. And today, I'll be heading down yonder to explore the park myself. Just like the location in the last episode, I'll be exploring damn near the entire park, focusing on these particular locations: the Kelly House, the Brotherton Cabin, the Wilder Brigade Monument, and the Snodgrass House. Each of these locations harbor an astounding amount of paranormal encounters from the public. Not to mention, each of these locations having tremendous historical significance to the Civil War and the happenings that made the country what it is today. In Cherokee, Chickamauga means River of Death, which would eerily foreshadow the massive bloodshed that would later occur there, as the Battle of Chickamauga was the second bloodiest battle of the Civil War, seconded only by Gettysburg. Over 34,000 fellows lost their lives in this battle. And we're off. Everyone else is driving, and I'm out here hoofing it, and it's 90 degrees. Way up yonder's the visitor center. We're going down yonder. Here are some points I want to show you. There's the Brotherton Cabin, Snodgrass House, the Wilder Brigade Monument. These places, not only are they hugely historical, but they say people constantly see paranormal activity. Let me see if there's any truth to that. So we're going to check it out either way. We just have a long way to hike before we get to these locations. This is a huge battlefield. Something tells me I'm going to have a mighty fine sunburn once all this is over today. It is so hot and sunny. Please, Lord, give me cloud cover. This is definitely a attraction that most people drive, obviously. You just know me, I like to do things the hard way and make myself suffer needlessly. Our first stop is the Kelly House, built by Elijah Kelly in the early 1800s. The Kelly House, sometimes called the Kelly Cabin or the Kelly Farmhouse, was one of the few civilian homes in the immediate battle area. And during the Battle of Chickamauga in 1863, the house was caught in the crossfire between Union and Southern forces. It was quickly turned into a field hospital, and like many homes near major Civil War battles, it witnessed extreme suffering and death. The Kelly Field, which surrounds the house, became a pivotal location during the fighting. Union troops used that area to regroup and mount counterattacks against the South. The house itself was shelled, blood-soaked, and reportedly stacked with the wounded and dying from both sides. Surgeons performed amputations in the house and on its porch, often with no anesthesia beyond whiskey and biting a bullet. In fact, the phrase "bite the bullet" comes from the Civil War. The Kelly House is apparently one of the most haunted spots in the Chickamauga Battlefield, with stories reported by rangers, visitors, and paranormal investigators. They say they see apparitions, figures in Civil War uniforms, seen peering outside of windows or standing silently by the structure. Other visitors have claimed to hear moaning, cries for help, and even prayers being whispered near the house. Now, whether or not this place is haunted is irrelevant. It is extremely historically significant, and countless folks lost their lives at this little cabin. Alright, apparently that was the Kelly Cabin, the Brotherton Cabin, down here ways, so I still gotta walk some more. Check out this absolutely huge one. This is the Georgia monument, it said. This thing is huge. To the lasting memory of all of her sons who fought in this field, Georgia erects this monument. Man, this thing is magnificent. Look at it. This is probably the most impressive battlefield I have ever seen. And I've been to quite a few during my travels here in the South in Appalachia. As you know, there's both the Revolutionary War and the Civil War was primarily, well, almost entirely fought in the East. So there's so much history here and so many different battlefields and historic graveyards for you to come check out and explore. Love to stop at more of these and go into more detail, but there's just so much to see and there's not a whole lot of time, and I really want to focus on the stuff I do want to show you. All right, after baking in the sun, I think we made it. This here is the Brotherton Cabin. The Brotherton Cabin is one of the most iconic and pivotal locations in the Chickamauga Battlefield, both historically and paranormally. The Brotherton Cabin was the home of George Brotherton, a local farmer, and his family before the Civil War. By the time of the Battle of Chickamauga in September 1863, the family had fled and the cabin was abandoned. Its location made it the centerpiece of one of the most crucial moments in the battle. the infamous Southern Breakthrough. On September 20th, Southern General James Longstreet launched a massive assault right at the Brotherton Cabin. Due to a tragic miscommunication in the Union command, there was a gap in the Union line, right up in front of the cabin. Longstreet's forces charged through the gap, breaking the Union Army in two, parting the Blue Sea. This moment is often called the turning point of the Battle of Chickamauga. Union General Rosecrans, thinking his line had collapsed entirely, retreated, leading to one of the worst Union defeats in the Civil War. Now, the Brotherton Cabin is considered one of the most spiritually active sites on the battlefield. There are sudden, unexplainable temperature drops, cold spots in and around the cabin, and several paranormal investigators who have visited the cabin report an intense sense of dread and sorrow. Now, while I was there, I was too busy damn near getting heat stroked and getting sunburnt to feel anything of the sort. So that wasn't my experience. Some folks report hearing gunfire and gunshots, the sound of marching soldiers, and of course the ever-present shadowy figures. The cabin may or not be haunted, but you can't deny how cool it is, how much history, especially such a pivotal moment in the Civil War, is at here. It may not look like it from the inside, but I've been hiking for a long time. Huge park and a huge battlefield. In fact, this is the Civil War's second bloodiest battle, second only to the Battle of Gettysburg. There were over 34,000 casualties here on this battlefield. And I know we kind of get desensitized to these kind of things, but that is a lot of lives lost. Even more interesting, this is one of the very few victories on the Western Front. The Battle of Chickamauga was a Confederate victory. And given its very bloody history, obviously there is a lot of paranormal sightings and folklore situated around this park here. This park even has its own headless horseman, the Headless Horseman of Chickamauga. Many folks claim to see an apparition on horseback with no head, a feller who probably lost his head due to cannon fire. And there's also the Lady in White. They say there's an apparition of a lady in a white dress who supposedly lost her husband during this battle and constantly roams these fields, still looking for him to this day as a ghost. And throughout this trail, people constantly say that they hear like phantom gunshots and cannons going off. They'll say that they see like apparitions of soldiers running through the field here. Now, is it probably just sensationalism? But still, a lot of people lost their lives on this land. So if the paranormal does exist, this would be a huge hot spot. I would have loved to come out here during the nighttime, but visitors ain't allowed after dark, and I don't want to get a trespassing charge, especially on federal property, because this is technically a national park, so it's federally protected. Alright, I've rested long enough. We still got so much to see. This video may be pretty short, but for me this is hours and hours of hiking. Most people drive all this, but I'm walking it and hoofing it the entire way. One, because it makes for a more interesting video, but two, it's a lot easier to get out and check out the smaller monuments this way without having to stop in your car constantly. And apparently, this battlefield has its very own cryptid. Meet Old Green Eyes. Old Green Eyes, otherwise known as the Green Ghoul of Chickamauga, is described as a feline beast-like cryptid, standing bipedal on two legs and covered in thick black fur. It has a misshapen jaw and has glowing green eyes. It is said that so much blood was spilt at the Battle of Chickamauga that this creature of great malice was drawn to the fields. And in the 1970s, two different folks were startled and scared off the road into a car crash by seeing two glowing eyes while driving through the park. And in 1976, Park Ranger Edward Tenney claimed he spotted a 6-foot creature with black hair and glowing eyes while patrolling the park, though he said it disappeared once he shined his headlights on it. The most compelling theory to me is that it's some sort of Native American spirit simply drawn to all the bad mojo at that park. Regardless of what it is or if it's even real, I think it just adds to how cool this battlefield is. The southern heat don't play around. It's got to be at least like, what, 90 degrees at this point. I'm burning. I'm cooking like a lobster. You see, most of us Appalachians are Scots-Irish.
In fact, the Scottish and Irish accent's where the Appalachian twang comes from, whereas the southern drawl comes from the French and the British moving down to the deep south. A lot of folks from the deep south have British and French roots, and a lot of folks from southern Appalachia have Scots-Irish roots, because that's the immigrants that moved to Appalachia. The fiddle comes from Scotland too, or Ireland. One of the two, I still don't know. I just can't recollect off the top of my head. But because of that, I am very pale. And instead of tanning, I either fry or I freckle after frying. Right now I'm frying. Did I ever tell y'all that I'm scared of heights? Big old beetle. Oh, God. Oh. I like to think of myself as an in-shape guy. I hike all the time, I work out, sorta. Oh, that took it out of me. Some badass stairs, dude. I'm just gonna sit here for a moment. I've been hiking 12 o'clock. It's 3:16 right now. Putting that work in. Ooh, oh my lordy, that is high. We are up here, man. Now this particular tower we're at right now is apparently a hot spot for ghost hunters. And they report feeling cold spots, feeling nauseous, and feeling dizzy when they're up here. And some equate it to some type of supernatural activity. But honestly, what's probably making them feel dizzy and nauseous? Walking up all them damn stairs. And then being up here and seeing how high up you are. I don't think, at least this area right here, has anything paranormal to do with how you're feeling. We're just out of shape, man. Still, this is an incredibly impressive monument. I mean, absolutely gorgeous too. I mean, you don't get to climb up something like this every day, do you? It's really interesting to see the scope of just how massive this battlefield really is. Not even just this field. All of that back there, past the tree line, it just goes on for miles. This is such a large park and battlefield. Try to imagine lines of soldiers with cannonballs fighting for the soul of this country. It's really humbling just to see how far we've come and to stand in a place where so many people have died. Well, I hope the way down is a lot less strenuous than the way up. See it, the sun's beating down on me like a...
The last location on our trip is the Snodgrass House, located on Snodgrass Hill. Again, a key site during the Battle of Chickamauga on September 19th, 1863. Union General George H. Thomas used the hill as a last defensive stand on the second day of the battle. He earned the nickname the Rock of Chickamauga for holding the line here while the rest of the Union Army retreated. The house itself belonged to none other than the Snodgrass family, who were civilians. Like the Kelly House, it was converted into a field hospital for the wounded and dying. The dead were buried quickly and often improperly, which contributes to the local ghost lore. Speaking of which, Snodgrass Hill is one of the best places you can apparently see Old Green Eyes. It is a simple cabin that has seen a hell of a lot of history and a hell of a lot of blood. And that is the Chickamauga Battlefield, or at least the places I visited during my trip. At over 5,000 acres and over 50 miles of hiking trails, and being the largest Civil War battlefield park, it would take days for me to get footage of all the stuff in the park, if that's even possible. And some things are just better seen with your own very eyes. So I encourage yous to visit and explore the Chickamauga Battlefield yourself, whether to pay your respects, to relive history, or just to spook yourself out. And if you come in October, check out the Old Green Ice Festival down in Chattanooga, which is only a couple minutes from the park. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I post every Saturday, exploring old ruins in the backcountry of Appalachia, exploring Appalachia's most haunted sites, and camping in these ancient mountains. If you like any of that, give me a subscribe and like this video. I am almost at 10,000 subscribers, so thank all yins for all the support yins give me. I am so very grateful for yins. With that said, have a good one, critters.